Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. This is your host, Tim Kanak. You can find me on X at Fantasy Ace Ball. And this time is only dos amigos. No John. John is putting kids night. But we got the same shirts, same night, same day, different team. With us is Doc Eisenhower on the X at Doc Eisenhower. And the baby shirt is back. It's making a comeback. Yes, T2. Revenge of the Baby shirt. so we're going to roll right into this one, because if you're listening to them in a row, even though this one's going to come out a couple days after the last one, we are literally recording these back to back. The only difference between now and then is Doc has a old school bottle of Coca-Cola. Please tell me that is a real sugar and not aspartame, since you are what do you call it, a cultee of the Maha movement.
So here's the deal, bro. I'm going to break it down to you and for you. This is the Mexican version.
Oh,
because the American version
has a Azucar on it.
The American version still using high fructose corn syrup. And I read the back of the Mexican one. It's got cane sugar. They're trying to keep America down, son. And they're trying to keep probably Mexico down too, because this is way more fluid, so you're drinking more, I guess. So we're both losing. They're getting more fat. We're getting more. We're not getting the pure sugar, dude. So I'll tell you what. It's I8. It's I8. Yes.
All right, let's get to the Nationals. We have a top 20 here. And number 20, a funny, whatever name. We got Orelvis Martinez, who was picked up by the Nationals. And the Nationals, the system, he still made the top 20. Orelvis is still a guy. Orelvis is not dead. I really hope he gets big so we can call him Fat Orelvis. Kind of like I miss my Lance Berkman, my Fat Elvis. We need a Fat Orelvis. Or Orelvis has left the building when he hits a home run. That one's easy. Someone's probably already taken that one before. What do you got on Orelvis real quick? I know you wanted to comment on him in a bad way.
Yeah, I don't know if I really like this Coke that much. I think it needs more high fructose corn syrup. I think Orelvis Martinez has had too much high fructose corn syrup, though, man. He's like, it's tough, man, because there's some guys who really believed in him out there. They're like, this is a top prospect. This is a guy, he's got this. That was my alarm clock that I had on before the podcast, before I remembered we had to do a podcast tonight.
Was that black and yellow?
No, it's just like generic. What are you talking about? That's
I don't know. For some reason, I'm like a black. I got like a black and yellow vibe on that.
That was do. That's like generic iPhone alarm. But I'm glad that we're both having a little bit of sleep deprivation. So yes. 30 plus home runs in the bat if you can make enough contact. And fortunately, he doesn't do that. He actually had a 50% contact rate in MLB, which is horrendous. I'm not sure how much of a sample size that is, but no, he's typically under 70%, which you can get away with freakish power. But again, you can't just be striking out and making no contact. It's an interesting profile. He's still 23 years old. He'll be 24 next year, for all of next year. So it's definitely a worthwhile dart throw for the Washington team, who has a lot of work to do, and we'll see what happens. I'm not really a believer, but at his current price point, like a 30-teamer, yeah, sure, take him as a dart throw, considering, again, some people had him as a very, elite prospect not too long ago.
Yep. Number 19 is Nick Schnell, outfielder with the Nationals. Had a pretty interesting season. We just talked about Kyler Fedko on our last podcast, and Nick Schnell has actually some similar attributes, but not as good in my mind. So that's just a name to watch as a proximity guy who might have some short-term value at some point because he is 25 years old, but he did have 23 bombs and 18 steals last year. A lot of Ks, but interesting name for proximity, maybe quadruple A, maybe like pop-up guy to keep an eye on for next year. Number 18, Coy James. Coy James was picked by the Nationals in the 5th round, high schooler, but they paid him, man. They gave him $2.5 million. So they must like some Coy James. So they really paid him over slot, shortstop for the Nationals. So some of that Eli Willits money that they saved by picking Willits instead of like a Holiday, I'm sure some of that went to Coy James. Number 17 is starting pitcher Riley Cornelio. And number 16, this is the guy that I want to talk about. It is Braum, not Brown. It's Braum with an M. Martinez, who was in the DSL this year. He's a repeat DSL guy and only played in 57 games. But in those 57 games, he hit 404, 507, 632, Doc. So 400 batting average is always going to catch my eye. He didn't strike out very much, which is also kind of rare for the DSL. Only an 11.6% swing strike rate, cut down from 17.9 last year. 3 bombs, 13 steals. And he brought his contact rate up. Last year, he had a 55% contact rate. And this year, he got that contact rate up to 70.4. So we saw major strides forward in the contact rate in the DSL, which, I mean, it's DSL. We've talked about it. It's, who knows what's going to happen when he reaches the next level. DSL is basically the high school for Dominican guys. So it's like, really, it's like, are we looking at high school stats when we're looking at some of these high school guys? Not really. So like, how much should we do with this stat? I don't know, but he hit over 400 and the contact rates went up, and it's pretty interesting stuff for Braum Martinez. You got anything on him real quick?
It's all about scouting and projectability with DSL. I can't buy into it, man. It's not. You're asking the wrong guy, and I'd have to use my eyeballs to see and meet his parents, and talk to the guy. I'd have to like figure something out.
Meet the parents.
Yeah, straight up, right? I mean, I don't know what 5'10", 161 even means if he's really measuring that. Like, it's all janky out there, man. It's the Wild West.
Yep. Number 15 is Christian Franklin, an outfielder here. He came over. I don't know what trade he came over, but they got him at the deadline from the Cubs. Pretty interesting stuff. 12 bombs, 19 steals on the season. So interesting little guy, played in AAA, 25-year-old. So another one of these interesting names who might like pop in and do something cool, at some point next year. So that's Christian Franklin. 14, Sean Paul Linan. He came over in the Dodgers trade from the Nationals, pitched really well for the Dodgers, not so well with the Nationals. Number 13, Jake Bennett, starting pitcher. Number 12, catcher, Caleb Lomavita, who you're going to profile here for us.
Yeah, I am. Honestly, none of these guys in this range, in this 11 to 15 range, really jumped out at me. But I'm like, I feel like I know this guy, and yeah, he's just doing a very casual, solid catcher profile sort of thing. I don't know anything about his defense at the moment. I'm seeing a scouting grade here. Looks like he's all right. He's all right. And you look at his average; he's basically a 275 hitter this last year. 240 in the minors. 340 OBP in the minors. He's striking out at a fine rate. Yeah, he actually upped his stats in his 9-game sample size at AA. So 22 at AA. He got a little taste. It's going to be a big year to see what he can do, because as of right now, yeah, you're seeing 6 home runs, a boring average, boring OBP. Everything's boring about this guy. So I wish I didn't click on him to profile, to be honest. But he was a 39th overall pick. He's kind of a fun name, Caleb Lomavita. But yeah, he was a 39th overall pick. We'll see. Catcher of the future. We'll see. Again, if he's got solid defense and he can develop this like really boring profile in a 30-teamer, you'll take it, right? If he's the starting catcher, if he's getting the time, maybe he's the guy for Washington going forward. We'll see.
Yeah, the dude gets hits, so sometimes that's okay. If sometimes deep leagues, you'll just take a catcher who's hitting 270, even if he's not doing anything else, because it's not terrible. He's not going to hurt you, and you've got to feel the catcher. So better that than like a guy hitting 180 or whatever. So sometimes you'll take that guy.
Mike Zunino.
Mike Zunino did have those seasons. Who is the guy with the guard? Is he still in the league? Who's that really good defensive catcher? Austin Hedges. That's it. Austin Hedges has to be like the worst hitter of all time, right?
I think Caleb Lomavita can be better than Austin Hedges. That's a hot take.
I hope so. I'm picking for my guy that I'm going to profile here, and John's going to get mad because I'm picking all these guys that we have no stats on, so I can't show off his cool tools. But I'm picking Landon Harmon, the number 11 guy here, starting pitcher. The Nationals, again, paid him over like $2.5 million, picked him later. I really love his stuff. He's a big 6'5" high school pitcher, really nice frame, really nice delivery, gets up to 99 velocity on the fastball, and has really good movement. 2,600 RPMs on that fastball, so he's got pretty solid carry on that. And then the slider, he's throwing mid 80s. So I'll always take a mid 80s slider if you can throw a slider in the mid 80s. So he's like really, it's like landing low 80s, but he hits in the mid 80s. He's got 2 sliders though, so he's got like the sweeper lower 80s, and then he's got a gyro slider high 80s. But those are really the pitches I like. He also throws a changeup. But I watched some video of this dude, and I was like, oh, this guy has like the starters built. Like this is like what you want to see in a starter, and they overpaid him at slot because they wanted him. They didn't want him to go to college, so they paid him big money and took him a little bit later in the draft. And the Nationals did that last year with Luke Dickerson. So like I'm thinking like, is this their Luke Dickerson of the year, Landon Harmon? And I just really like the delivery and the stuff. So interesting name to watch.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. We got a robot doc.
Over. Did you lose me there?
Yeah, for 1 second. We got you. Okay. You're back.
All right. Well, I've seen articles here that are saying, hey, is he the next Travis Sikora for them? And I like that sounds of that, 6'5", 190. He's a little bit leaner. He's not built exactly like Sikora, to be honest. But he's a Mississippi kid. It seems like he's got a fun arsenal. It seems like basically they're going to have to – we'll have to see with him. He's just so young, big future in front of him. But, Washington's generating some interesting pitching prospects lately. We'll see what they can do.
Yeah, for sure. Number 10, getting into the top 10, is starting pitcher Jackson Kent, who got up to Double-A this year as a 22-year-old. Really nice strikeout stuff. And Double-A, he had a 17.9% swing strike rate. So, like, striking out a ton of dudes. Got to work on the command a little bit. But even though he had a 4.61 ERA, like, his under-the-hood stuff was really good. So, like, I don't really care about that ERA. Like, the dude can strike guys out. So I think Jackson Kent is kind of an underrated prospect here. Lefty in Double-A, 22. Number 9, Ethan Petrie. Really a ton of power. Like, this guy, I don't know. Did he have the most power of any of the college guys? He was like probably top 5 power hitter out of all the college guys drafted, I would say, top 5. But I really like him as a profile. You wanted to talk about him a little bit because you've seen him. So
yeah, I saw him at Fredericksburg on Bluey night. So I saw a bunch of these kids on Bluey night. And honestly, full disclosure, got in like a little argument with my wife that night. So like it kind of took the shine away, but still had a great time. And then because of that, I had like just one-on-one time with my little daughter for a second because we split up for like a few minutes. But it's okay. It ended well. And Ethan Petrie looked pretty good there. He made good, loud contact, which aligns with his power. And look at the back of the baseball card, small sample size this year, but I think he had like a 286 batting average with like I was at 380. It's 287 batting average, 386 OVP. So really solid stuff there. Just we need to see more in terms of like power, but that's the one thing we know he has. He only had 2 home runs in 21 games, but like that's cool. Like we want to see him not striking out all the time. We want to see him making contact. We want to see him taking walks, and he was doing that. So I think he's like really incredibly underrated. I'm not sure if he's on a lot of people's radars right now as a 2nd round pick last year.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I almost bumped him even higher, but I like some of these guys. I was like, I don't know if I want to move him down. I really like the power potential with him though. It's just first baseman for prospects, kind of rough. Like I feel like first basemen have more work to do. The good thing is he also can hit it. Did you see him when was he playing first or playing in the outfield?
I feel like he was playing outfield. I could be wrong, but I felt like he was playing outfield.
So he played 11 games in left field, 9 at DH, and 4 at first base. So I feel like if he can play left field, just getting that bat in the lineup is more important. Like even if he ends up at first eventually, that's okay. But like as a minor leaguer, it's just hard to move up the systems as a first baseman. I feel like they get stuck a lot at certain levels. So I hope they keep playing in the outfield. Number 8 is Christian Vaquero, outfielder. speed dude. Number 7, this is the guy that I'm going to talk about, Seaver King. So Seaver King was their first round pick last year out of Wake Forest. And I had him, I think, as a top 100 prospect at one point. I really liked Seaver King. He had a bad year, though, but I'm not really ready to like give up on him despite the kind of rough year. So I'm going to bring his profile up here. You can see only an 83 power F score if you're watching on YouTube, but the hit tool is still good. 105 hit tool, and then 97 discipline, that's livable, and then a 164 speed. So if you have a good hit tool, like 105 is really good, because I've mentioned it before in past podcasts that out of the F scores, the speed, the power, and the discipline are way more variable. Like you'll see ranges from like the 40s to the 200s with those stats. But hit tool and the F scores, it's all closer together. It only goes from like 85 to like 120. So like there's way less range in hit tool. So like 1 point of hit tool matters a lot more than 1 point of speed or discipline or power, just because there's less volatility. The standard deviation is different in the hit tool ranking. But anyway, Seaver King, really good hit tool, good contact rates, good quality of contact, and good speed. I thought that we were going to see more power from him. We still might see more power from him as he develops here. He's still only 22 years old. He's playing in AA now already. So, I mean, like, that's the main thing for King is like, let's get into some power, because I felt like last year and like when he was at Wake, I felt like there was more power in this tool than like a 5 home run guy or 10 home run guy. Like I thought we'd be getting mid-teens home runs from Seaver King. What do you think about King?
Well, unfortunately, he's that guy that everyone kind of overlooked and forgot about because he was in the middle of a pretty good draft class in hindsight, right? He's got Connor Griffin on one side of him, Bryce Rayner on the other. It's that's tough, right? It's really, really top heavy, really solid draft class. And Seaver King was in there as a guy who you can forget about. And so I think it's interesting you brought him up here. I mean, the back of the baseball card at AA, not friendly. I'm concerned about his back of the baseball cards numbers this last year, to be honest. Just doesn't seem to really be taking walks that well. We'll see, because it's a different story from what we saw in over just 20 games in 2024. But yeah, we're really not seeing him take a lot of walks. He's not looking like he's going to have a lot of power. Stealing, if he can steal bases and have a decent average, I guess that's like as a specialist. He's not like he's got making okay contact, but I think he's more of a low ceiling guy for me. I'm not super excited about him, but I'm guessing I believe one of his calling cards was pretty good defense, and yeah, I'm seeing some scouting grades here. Looks like he plays some good defense, so not someone I'm particularly psyched up for fantasy, but. Who knows? He would have to develop a little bit more pop, a little bit more something for me to be really interested. But hey, I mean, I guess he did steal 30 stolen bases. So if you can just get a little bit better ratios, a little bit better power, it's like something here. Let's make this a more well-rounded profile.
Yeah, in college he had 16 bombs at Wake in his last
metal
season.
bat.
I mean, obviously metal bat. But like you would think that that's still pretty good. You still think he'd be able to at least hit like double-digit home runs. So I mean, like if he's like a 12, 13 home run guy, but can nab 35 bags or something like that with a decent average, I think he's still a decent name. But he had a bad year this year, so I think now is like a really buy low opportunity. You could maybe get him in some leagues for free or for like nothing. You know what I mean? So like, you're a deep league and you're looking for like just anyone who's going to play. Like he's a first rounder. Like teams want their first rounders. They picked him 10th in the 10th overall. Like you mentioned, who he's picked around. Like they're gonna want him to play. So like leagues, he's gonna get at bats at some. Like he's gonna get a chance. So I think like that's important. If he's gonna get a chance, if he can hit and steal, at least like in deeper leagues, you're getting something good. So we're gonna get to number 6 now. Number 6 on the list is Luke Dickerson, your boy, shortstop. That's another guy who had like started really hot and kind of tailed off a little bit. Talk about Luke Dickerson a little bit.
Yeah, so he looked like he was gonna completely validate me. I was hyping him up, as one of my guys, like him and Caleb Bonnemer, right? I'm like, yeah, Dickerson's my main guy, but also, but Bonnemer could be okay. He could be pretty good too. I just thought, Dickerson, he's got this power speed profile. He's from the same state as Mike Trout. He's got a little good muscular athletic build. And I think he only hit 6 home runs all last year. I think he hit like 3 of them in the first few games or something. So I was like, okay, here we go. Now, hey, the stolen bases were still there by the end. He did just turn 20, so this was mostly a 19-year-old season. If you want to find some silver linings, 22 stolen bases. The ratio is not looking great. Taking a walk, not striking out at an abhorrent rate, decent contact rates. Like, I'm not freaking out over here, but yeah, we want to see something better next year. He was doing great in his little complex debut, but after that in A-ball this year, I guess the only upside is that he was bad enough that I'll get to see him to start next season at Fredericksburg, because I don't think they'll be giving him a challenge. But I think there's a lot of talent here. I'm sure there's some people who I'd led to invest in him. He shouldn't have cost you too much to get him last year, but he'll cost you probably even less this year with a whole new fresh batch of rookies who still have that, no statistic or little statistic shine to them. They haven't gone through their hard first year in the pros. So we'll see. Is this going to be a sign of things to come? If Luke Dickerson gives us a 200 average next year, then yeah, you might want to move on. But I think there's a reason that the Nationals gave him $3.8 million in the second round. I think this is an interesting guy. I saw him out there. He seemed like he was broing out with Eli Willits. It was really cool to see the two of them. I think Dickerson, he made some good loud contact. We'll see what the future holds, but he needs to clean up the act and show that he's got a hit tool next year. Very funny, because Bonnemer was supposed to have a questionable hit tool. He ended up having a pretty good approach. Dickerson was supposed to have a pretty decent hit tool, and I guess we'll see.
Yeah, the scores still like him. I mean, 100 power, 99 hit, 100 discipline on a bad year. Like, it's basically still saying that he was at least like league average in those stats, and then the 173 speed. So he's not, like, for a bad year, that's not bad. That's like basically he was at average with like good speed, but that was a bad year for him. So that's okay. Yeah. Number 5, as I lost my way. Number 5 is starting pitcher Alex Clemmie. So let's pull up Alex Clemmie, who had a really nice season. But this is kind of he had a nice season in a Mick Abel way, and we just finished with the Twins. And like between Alex Clemmie and Mick Abel, just to give you some like interesting behind the scenes here, like I'm still picking Mick Abel ahead of Alex Clemmie, even though I had Abel as my number 9 player for the Twins and Clemmie's my number 5 for the Nationals, because the Twin system is that much better. But we see here, we don't have pitch level data for Alex Clemmie, but we do have 364 JA is good, 28.7 K percentage, 13.5 K minus walk. So what does that tell us? It means this guy is walking way too many dudes. But he did have some really nice games where he had like 9Ks a few times, 10Ks. So he's just very inconsistent, like a bunch of 8, 9, 10K games. So lots of strikeouts, but it's just like sporadically like good game, bad game, good game, bad game. Lots of walks and mixed in there. So Alex Clemmie, like really, and when you watch him too, like really good stuff. You're like, oh man, that guy's sharp. But it just depends on what day you're catching him. And so he needs to find more consistency if he's going to jump up into potentially being a really good starter, because at this rate, like when you have really good stuff, but the command isn't there, there's always that bullpen risk that's going to be kind of hovering behind you.
I mean, just again, so young, right? He just turned 20. So he played as a 19-year-old teenager this year, going up to Double-A, which is incredible. And that's where he ran into, 29 innings of the back of the baseball card not loving him, strikeouts ticking down. So oddly, his walk rate got better. Maybe, and they got smashed for home runs was an issue. So, but this is, again, especially for a pitcher as a teenager at Double-A, it's an aggressive promotion. That's really aggressive. I think that's way more aggressive than they've been with Travis Sikora. I would say. But yeah, 19 years old, crushing high A for most of the year, 87 innings there. We will see what happens with the command, because you're right, it's a bit of a Mick Abel situation. I think it would be silly not to go Mick Abel just because of his proximity. I mean, if Alex Clemmie gets TJ tomorrow, we're not talking about this guy for a while. He'll still come back as a young guy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still like a long road ahead here for a young pitcher. So crazy upside. I remember when he got drafted, there's a lot of talk about Chris Sale comps in the Cleveland org. But, Washington is sneakily becoming, if they can turn him into a success story, it's just going to add to them maybe being an underrated pitching development organization.
Yeah, for sure. Number 4, we've got a fun name, DSL. We've got a DSL guy, number 4 in this org. But there's a good reason for it. It is Marconi Herman. Marconi Herman, switch hitting shortstop, just turned 18. So he played this whole season as a 17-year-old at DSL. And he had a 283, 479, 513 slash with more walks than Ks, 20% walk rate, 19% K rate. Very rare for DSL. And 8 home runs with 33 steals in 53 games. So this guy he just put up video game numbers at DSL, 67% contact rate. So you say, okay, but DSL, everybody has bad contact rates. And a lot of DSL guys are in the 50s. So I'm okay, that's not bad. For me, when I'm looking at DSL guys, besides looking at just power speed, how they're doing, and looking at WRC plus or whatever, the main things you want to look at is is this guy walking and not striking out? And this guy's walking more than he strikes out. So that's ding, green light number 1 for me when I'm looking at DSL. Then the other thing that I'm going to look at is does this guy have a ridiculous BABIP that was just inflating his stats? 337 BABIP, ding, that's pretty solid. That's not a 400 BABIP. There's nothing crazy here that says there's an overinflation of his stats. And then the next thing I'm looking at is going to be contact rate. 67 is okay. So I think that a lot of what he's done, even though he put up video game numbers, a lot of that can be pretty supported. So I think Marconi Herman, this could be the Raniel Rodriguez of next year. Raniel Rodriguez last year had a really good DSL season, and everyone's like, yeah, it's DSL, whatever. And now look at him. Everyone's got him as a top 30, top 40 prospect or whatever. So Marconi Herman could be that type of player next year.
Maybe. It also took people till a month ago to figure out that Raniel Rodriguez was actually good. So it took a while. So for me, I still need to see more. If you want to shed some time off the podcast, this is probably my take right here. It will help cut some time down because I just need to see more. I'm the anti-DSL guy. I'm boring like that. I'm going to miss out on potential studs. But, I just need to see some American pro ball.
Maybe the Americans. Number 3, Travis Sikora, American to the bone, but unfortunately has the TJ issue. So Travis Sikora is a guy that I probably would have had as a top 10, top 15 prospect. I think I had him at 18 or 19 before the injury. So he probably would have finished top 10-ish prospect for me had he not had this issue. Because of this, now Thomas White has moved ahead of him in my rankings, and he's bumped down to the 60s or 70s because we're not going to see him in 2026. And we'll be lucky if we get a major league debut from him in 2027. Just think Andrew Painter. Everybody thought that Andrew Painter was going to debut this year in July, and then it never happened because you don't know how these guys are going to bounce back from surgery. He could come back and just be fire and then bounce right in. Yeah, that's a possibility. Or you could have issues like Andrew Painter or Spencer Strider or some of these other guys. So TJ is not an easy thing to come back from. So I'd rather give him a 2-year window. And since we're losing 2 years of value here, it just makes it a little bit harder to hold Sikora at this point, despite him having just absolutely ridiculous stats, which you can see on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. 158 JAERA is insane, over 40% K rate. This guy was the best pitcher in the minors before this injury. It's just super unfortunate. Happens to almost every pitcher at this point. So I don't know. If you ask him in 10 years, maybe he'll say, hey, good thing it happened in the minors, not in the majors. But it sucks because he's not getting paid major league money right now. And I know he's your boy. I guess the main thing to ask you, Doc, is value. How should we be valuing Sikora with this injury right
now? Now's your chance. If you ever wanted to have a taste of Travis Sikora, but the price was too dang high, now's your chance. There's a guy in our 30-teamer, and you got to stop saying things like it's hard to hold on to Travis Sikora, because when you're in a 30-teamer, if you're holding on, he's not going anywhere. He's still your cornerstone, and that's how MLB teams are going to be looking at him too, right? The Nats aren't thinking about dipping dealing him off. Again, he's built well. Here's the crazy thing. I know he's had some issues, like maybe it was his oblique before, but he's had no, it was his labrum. It was something up here, and he said that was bothering him his whole like rookie year as well, his whole first year in the pros, and he was still like dealing. So that's almost exciting in a way. It's not great that he's always been hurt, but it's might have. I mean, there's a couple things here. One, it might have been a case of stubbornness. Of like maybe you should have just chilled to begin with. He wouldn't be here because maybe if it's up here that's bothering him, maybe down he overcompensates down here, and I mean, and that's what blows out the elbow. I don't know exactly what went down, man. But I'll tell you what, like if he can come back and be completely healthy, and we haven't seen that yet from him in professional ball. It's kind of exciting. It's the silver lining from this all. I'm excited to go make some offers, man. It's not going to happen right away. There's not that value yet. But there will be, like you said, yeah, if he doesn't come back this year, there'll be there's going to be a whole new MLB draft with brand new prospects. People are going to outshine him. There's going to be some interesting buying opportunities, especially if he doesn't show up this year or if he struggles. But I'd say Travis Sykora. I still have him in terms of pitching prospects long term. I have him above your number 2. Your number 2 guy in this ranking.
Interesting. Nice lead in there. Number 2 is Harlan Susana. I couldn't do it. I had to bump Harlan ahead, despite him having command issues. His stuff is so good, and it's just because of proximity. Like Harlan Susana is going to debut maybe like a year before Sykora at this point now. So, and Harlan Susana also finished very strong. If you're looking right now on John's tool, which I have on YouTube, you can see like his last, like from July 26th, like I'm just going to go through these start by start. July 26th, 8Ks, 0 walks. August 1st, 6Ks, 0 walks. August 7th, 6Ks, 2 walks. August 13th, 9Ks, 2 walks. August 19th, 13Ks, 3 walks. August 24th, 10Ks, 3 walks. So besides his last start, we only threw 30 pitches. So it was like that was like a throwaway start pretty much the last start of the season. 3 Ks, 2 walks. Like from more or less from the All-Star break on, he was absolute fire. He reigned in the command. Before that, we have games with like 6 walks, 5 walks, 4 walks. Like he was still striking dudes out earlier in the year and last year, but there were just tons and tons of walks. And he seemed to have like fixed that problem in the second half of the year. So that's what's getting me so excited about Harlan Susana. Besides the fact that he had an 18.1 swinging strike rate on the season, a 2.30 JA ERA, a 24.8 K minus walk, and the fact that he throws over 100, like he's throwing 102. This dude is, and he's a 6'6" beast. Like this guy is really good. Harlan Susana is really good, and I think he fixed the command. Like the way that I'm looking at this game log, and the way that I'm looking at, okay, look at the K rates and the walk rates in these games. Like look how many strikes versus balls. 55% strike rates, almost 60% strike rates. Like I think he fixed the command issues, Doc, and that changes the ball game completely. If he has good command, that turns what might be like a number 3 guy into a potential ace. And if you got Susana rocking with Sykora in a couple of years, that's going to be kind of crazy. Like you don't even need Mackenzie Gore. Like that'd be kind of crazy. So, but like I think he's fixed. I think he fixed the command.
I mean, six walks per 9 at Double A last year. You can say 2 or 3 walks per game, but it's like at 4 or 5 innings, like it's not fantastic. I mean, frankly, at Double A, it was his worst command he had since 2022. So that's an issue, right? And so he's made strides overall. Like he did great in his 9 innings, I guess, at high A. I would say last year was where you saw better strides at high A with a 3.4 walks per 9. And just we'll have to see, right? It's up and down. It's up and down. I don't know, man. I still feel like he's going to be a reliever long term. Of course, Sykora needs to be healthy straight up, but it's not like Susana. Like he only threw 56 innings himself this year, so he's got to get those innings up as well. I do love the size, but I don't know, something about it. He just, I don't think it's a nightmare for him to be like one of the. Like he could be like the best closer in baseball kind of guy. I said the same thing about Jacob Misiorowski, and we'll see what happens with him. But he was crushing it as a starter for a while. So we'll see. It's a high risk, high reward, but I wouldn't even say it's high risk because like it's more of like it depends on your league. If you're a league where you're like holds plus saves 12-teamer, that's probably high risk, high reward because you don't necessarily want like there's a huge difference between a stud starter and a stud reliever. But in a 30-teamer, man, I'll take a stud closer. Those are hard to come by.
Yeah, I just think he fixed his command. I mean, like when you follow the game.
What do you say about the 6 walks per 9 at AA? Because that's not just all.
I think it's because you have to look what he was doing earlier in the year. He was
no, this is all at AA. I'm talking about though. So you see at AA, he actually
yeah, I know that, but that high walk rate was before like
I'm seeing here. It's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was seeing
that was in like April. Yeah, that was a lot of that was like in April and May.
I see. And then when he went down to high A. And then came back up to AA. So they actually demoted him for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a demotion. I think it was I think it was an injury, and then that's when he was down, and then he came back up and was fire. So I'm saying like his last like 5 or 6 starts, like he was amazing. So I think that but it's only a few starts.
Again, let me just give you the numbers, okay? So this is the number of walks every game. So just at AA, I'm going to skip the low A. So early year 2, 3, 3, 3, 6, 3. Okay, so obviously it's a really bad game there. And there's 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. We're not. You see what I'm saying? Like there was.
Dude, you'll live with 2 or 3 walks if you're striking out 13 guys.
That's an argument. That is an argument. That is an argument, right? That's why I'm sitting.
It's like Blake Snell. You'll live with Blake Snell.
100%. No, this is a situation where I'm not passionately saying he's not going to make it. My guess is he has more work to do, and I take issue with you saying he's fixed it. I think he needs to get. He's young, so if he can keep on this trajectory,
let's see him do it. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see him do it early next year. I mean, I haven't bumped him into the top 50, but like, I like him a lot. So talking about a guy that is top 50 now, Eli Willits, shortstop. I think you drafted him in the P1 ADP, didn't you? But he's my number 1 here. And he had a really nice debut. 85% contact rate. That's the big thing. Like we don't get 57 plate appearances. It's hard to like figure out. That's not a lot of data to go by. But something that stabilizes early is the contact rate, and 85% for a 17-year-old that was debuting in A-ball. That's sick. Like you got to give the dude props for that. Like that's a really nice debut. And any doubts about, hey, Willits might just be average? Like you look at that contact rate as a 17-year-old in A-ball, and you're like, okay, maybe the hit tool is not just average. Maybe it's a 6. Maybe it's a 7. So I think that there's a lot in this tank here that, nice little sample size from Eli that can reassure people. And I think that's going to bump him up FYPD boards because there's a lot of guys who didn't debut, but Eli did, and he debuted successfully. So, like, that's why you see people maybe taking Eli ahead of Ethan Holiday now when they wouldn't have done that because Ethan Holiday had a lot of strikeouts at A-ball, and Eli kind of nailed it. So what do you think about Eli number 1? And, like, just real quick here before we sign off, like, what do you think FYPD, like, where are you placing him now at this point?
Oh, it's tough, man. First of all, I think you have to say it. You have to mention it. He's still 17 years old with 2 months to go. he's going to be 17. He's going to be not even able to vote until, in fact, he's going to, he'll miss where state's he from? He's I don't know. Fangraphs, I tell you what, there's some things I like better about the old school baseball reference. Yeah, sometimes it just gives you a little bit more detail on the old school stuff. Yeah, he's from Oklahoma. Yeah, goodness. Yeah, high school. I need to know where he's from. I need to make a lot of generalizations and stereotypes based on where he's from. No, but he's they have elections coming up right now. I think it's the 4th or something. Maybe he's born on election day. I don't know, but point is he's young, folks. And so no, and I'm also not even able to read. That's December 9th. So no, there's no way he's voting. I thought it was November. Yeah. Had a couple too many whiskeys. Who knows? But I saw Eli Willits play. Honestly, I was thinking, I saw people putting him over. I saw people thinking he might be better than Ethan Holiday. And I was all like, nah, you guys are just you're throwing away Holiday too fast. I still think people are too worried about Holiday, but having seen him in person, that was like really worth. That's a scouting moment of like, oh, there's something here, especially at low A. I don't think I'm like some amazing scout or anything like that, but I think it's clear when you see superstar potential or star potential at least among a bunch of guys who, statistically speaking, aren't going to make it or are going to be low impact contributors at MLB. So when you see this guy, he's 17. And so when I saw him, he's been more 17, right? He's like 17 years and like 7 months or something. Like
he's a baby. Get him my belly.
And he had kind of a baby face, but he, it sounds weird, but he had like a man's body, and like he's got more to grow, and he's out there with Luke Dickerson, and he had a demeanor about him. John would hate this talk, scout talk, but he had a demeanor about him, and every time he hit the ball.
What did his girlfriend look like?
I don't know, but I can't talk about that, dude. She's probably 60. The heck is wrong with this guy? Get this guy on the Epstein list. So loud contact every time I saw it. Really reliable. He's probably their shortstop of the future. Kick it Dickerson over to second base if Dickerson can figure it out. That is. Eli Willits, man. Yeah, like you said, contact rates through the roof. Only stole a couple bases, but yeah, he looks like the real deal. I remember at one point he had like a 500 average. He still ended with a 300 average. 400 OPP back in the baseball card. We'll see what the power becomes, but here's the crazy thing: when you got a guy this young, he could toil in the minors for 3 years and be 20, be young. Like if he's still in Double-A 3 years from now, which like he's just so young that almost like doesn't seem likely. Sorry, he's just so like young for like in general. Like his experience is gonna be fast. Like at the end of next year, he'll still be 18, and I think by just what I saw this year, he could be. I would say maybe not likely, but could be at Double-A at the end of next year. At the very least, I suspect Double-A in the age 19 year. And when you're in Double-A, you're never that far away. So anyway, this guy has some time to figure out his pop. He could even make the majors at like 20 years old and be more of like a 10 home run guy, 20 stolen base, maybe boring guy early on, like good ratios. And then as he's developing at the big league level, learn some power.
Put him on that Leo DeVries rocket ship. That's Eli Willits, number 1. I love it. So Doc, you can find on X at Doc Eisenhower, and you can find me at Fantasy Aceball. And make sure you subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse, where you can find the F scores for all the hitters on there right now. Pitching still has to be done, but all the hitters are done on there for major leaguers, minor leaguers, and you can find all the fun data tools. You can check out JAERA, which is Minor League Sierra, that John created, and you can see zone contacts, EVs, a lot of good data on there. 15-day moving OPS, so you can see how a guy's trending. Great stuff. So thanks. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.